All righty, welcome back for another episode of 2 Point Sports. Today is Friday, March 17th, and today we're talking about some five stars in play for the University of Oklahoma. It's always a fun video to talk about and discuss because five stars in Oklahoma, they just go together. What do you think?
I agree. And it's also fun because for those who didn't like yesterday's video about five-star quarterback Dylan Raiola, we still are an Oklahoma-based podcast.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not. So, if you missed that video, Dylan Raiola, we talked about him. Be sure to go check out that video. But before we get into today, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. So today we're going to be talking about David Stone, Devon Mitchell, and Kobe Black, three five stars that have either been on campus recently or will be soon or will be probably coming back for a second time or a third or fourth time, however many times they've been on campus. So let's start with one of our favorite ones is 2024 five-star defensive line, David Stone, number 4 overall, the number 2 defensive lineman in the entire class, obviously originally from the state of Oklahoma, now is playing for the IMG Academy. He always says, I don't always post going to Oklahoma. I'm on campus all the time because I believe his sister goes to Oklahoma. He's from Oklahoma. And sometimes it's hard to maybe you, as an Oklahoma fan, you want to see the love on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff just to make sure that he's at least going and seems to be enjoying himself. Because if he's going, he's not posting, it might be like, what the heck's going on? Well, he's home for spring break. He goes and takes a visit to Oklahoma. He posts pretty much his entire visit. He had like a 25-minute Instagram video of him, taking pictures and things like that. Seems like the visit went really well, came out of the blue, but this is exactly what he says he does. So what he's saying he's doing. What do you think?
Well, yeah, just because he doesn't post every visit, it's like, when you go to a real nice restaurant, you don't have to post it for Snapchat every single time, just every now and again. And especially if it's a place you visit frequently, which David Stone does with Oklahoma. I said it a couple times before on the show. I think Oklahoma internally knows how they feel with David Stone, and I think it's pretty good. I don't think Oklahoma is stressing it as much as some people are on social media and stuff. I think Michigan State is making a strong push. I think Mel Tucker's doing a hell of a job at Michigan State, and he's going to continue to do a great job. But losing their pass rush specialist coach, I think is going to hurt them. Uh, and for Oklahoma, you have to win. I know David Stone's not an in-state kid, but he's kind of an in-state kid, and you can't lose out on a prospect like that. I talk about on the show all the time. I think if you get David Stone, Williams Damari, and Nigel Smith on the defensive line, that Todd Bates and Coach Davis could take a break. Like I think, and obviously they're not going to, but I think if you get those three guys in the 24 class to pair them with who we already have in the 2023 class with LeBlanc, with just that entire class, LeBlanc, who's the five? PJ Adebar. I couldn't remember his name. There it is. Adebar, LeBlanc, the other guys in that class. Then you get the 300 monster in the 24 class. Oklahoma has a legitimate threat down the line to have the best defensive line in the SEC, and that's what you're going to need to do to win these big games against Alabama's, against Georgia's, against LSU, because their offensive lines are always good. They're big. They're strong. It's a different brand of football going against an Alabama offensive line versus a Texas Tech offensive line. So I think Oklahoma's aware of that. Obviously, they have to win in the trenches. David Stone is a must get. His stats jump off the page too with his 9 sacks last season. He's in the backfield all the time, but he's also a guy that, as big as he is, can shed a block so easy and plug up those lanes for the running backs. He's dynamic in both the run game and the pass game. I think he's Jose's favorite target in the 24 class, and he's a can't lose for OU.
Definitely a can't lose. Looking at his Twitter, obviously there's a lot of OU love, and so one of his friends looks like an in-state kid also got offered recently by Oklahoma. But what is interesting this week, his one of his best friends, Michael Patterson McDonald, out of Westmore High School in OKC, is visiting Michigan State this week. It looks like that David Stone's also visiting according to Michigan State insiders, and I haven't seen any post recently, unless I'm just double checking. Actually, I take that back. It looks like he also took a visit to Michigan State this week. He also took a visit to LSU last weekend, and then he took a visit to Florida the weekend before. So he's making the rounds, and not that I don't blame him at all, but the two constants are Oklahoma and Michigan State. The thing that is also interesting is a kid by the name of Dax Collins, right, out of Poto. I believe it's
Mhm.
Poto, Oklahoma. He just received an offer from Michigan State a couple days ago. And not saying that David Stone's best friends with them, but it is interesting. He did retweet it on his Twitter, and Oklahoma has been hesitant to offer Dax Collins. And I'm
Where the
not
Oklahoma
saying,
offers coming.
yeah, I'm not saying that's going to sway his decision, but he's making the rounds. And Oklahoma obviously is in the thick of it, but he is definitely not close to shutting it down, it looks like.
No, and that's fine. It's gonna be we'll stress it out the whole way, but I think I still favor Oklahoma in this. I don't think that I don't know. Plus, OU has Gerald McCoy hard for recruiting him. Obviously, I don't think Gerald McCoy has been hired by the university to do so, but Gerald McCoy tweets this kid every single day, it seems, and I think that's going to help. I think all signs and all roads will eventually point to Oklahoma for David Stone, and if you get David Stone, buckle up. That defensive line is going to be real good at OU for some time. I don't think David Stone's a guy that can start right away as a freshman, but he's a dude that I think is a rotational player as a freshman, and by the time he's a sophomore, is an impact player.
No, I would agree with you, and he's a definite must get. He'd be the crown jewel of this class, but not to say that Oklahoma's not in a great spot for a lot of other great defensive line. Obviously, we talked with Nigel Smith; he's elite. Williams Noweri. I mean, they're in the thick of it. They don't have to go 100%, but obviously, you would think you could be able to get a guy from the Oklahoma area as a 5-star to keep him at home. So Michigan State is looming, and they're continuing to recruit his teammate and recruit more Oklahoma kids. They are building a pipeline, and it's really unfortunate, but it's just reality
They
right
already got
now.
by Joe. They got their Oklahoma defensive line. They need to let Oklahoma have Stone. Maybe we can alternate and get set up an agreement with them.
An agreement, yeah. So staying or shifting gears into the 25 class, Devon Mitchell, a 2025 5-star tight end, potentially going to be a 4-star tight end or 2024 tight end, excuse me. And he is out in Los Alamitos now, originally from Allen, play with Michael Hawkins. Teammates seem like best friends with Michael Hawkins. I'm not sure why he went out to the state of California, Los Alamitos. The only thing I could think of is the state of Texas isn't very conducive to the NIL game for high school athletes, and California is. And not that I don't really blame him if that's the reasoning. I'm not sure if it is one way or another, but anyway, I don't think he has ties to the California area and wants to stay and go play at USC. He's going to be coming out to Oklahoma towards the end of this month for the 2025 on 20 gosh I can't talk on March 25th. He's making a visit out there. I would imagine Michael Hawkins will be there. Hopefully Michael Hawkins is getting ready to make his announcement on April 8th in favor of Oklahoma and recruiting Devon to play for Oklahoma. I think one way or another, whether it's 24 or 25, it seems like Oklahoma is the clear front runner here. What do you think?
I agree. I think the Los Alamitos high school thing brings back some PTSD for a lot of Oklahoma fans, myself included. Just, you think of Malachi Nelson, you think of Raleek Brown, Makai Lemon. I don't know if they're all that area. And obviously we know what happened there with Lincoln taking them all to SC with him. But his relationship with Michael Hawkins is a big one to follow. And he tweeted the other day about him being him, talking about Michael Hawkins. We've said on the show a couple times, multiple times, we think Oklahoma is the clear front runner for Michael Hawkins' services, so that is going to tremendously help OU in this. Devon Mitchell is a kid that has like a you remember like playing Madden growing up and you do like a creative player and you just make your dude super freaky, obviously, because you want to be great. And he's 6'5, 260. This dude is that in real life. He's 6'4, 250, and he's 16 years old. So he could be 6'5, 265 by the time he gets to college. So just, I mean, it's crazy how big these kids are. And he's at 16. He has 30 plus offers, an athletic freak. Obviously, with if he does commit and if he does reclassify, as you mentioned, that tremendously helps Mike Hawkins out because he obviously has camaraderie with him. He has a chemistry with him. They're boys, so he'll have a clear cut security blanket right away at Oklahoma, which I think is going to be tremendously beneficial for him if he is indeed the starter following Jackson Arnold. There's a lot of signs that point to his coming to Oklahoma. Hopefully it happens because he's going to be a great player and he's only going to help Mike Hawkins out down the road.
What's interesting is on his 247 page, there was an article written on March 7th, so about a week and a half ago. And he said the three schools that are recruiting him the hardest are Alabama, South Carolina, and Tennessee. Oklahoma's not on that list. And what he considers the hardest, it might just be the one that, calls him the most, texts him the most, whatever. It is interesting that Oklahoma isn't on there, and maybe that's just the fact that Oklahoma knows where they stand, and they stand really, really in a great position for him. And they know if they get Mike Hawkins and they continue to recruit Devon Mitchell, it's probably going to end well for them. Obviously, you never like to see the three
Has
hardest
he had
schools.
visits to those schools yet? I haven't looked at his. I'm not looking at the page right now.
I am not 100% sure. I know he's been to Texas A&M, but as far as Alabama and them, I'm not 100% sure on any of them.
Yeah, like unless he visits, him just saying that is just literally it probably is just text and stuff. And I think once he starts visiting schools, I'm not seeing anything about him visiting Bama or anything on his 24/7 profile at least, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Follow the visits.
Yeah, definitely follow the visits, and um, it is Alabama at the end of the day. It's always makes you a little wary, but Oklahoma can lock down Devon or Michael Hawkins. Hopefully, Hawkins will be there for the end of March, a recruiting event. I would imagine he's there because he's going to want to see his friend because now he's living in California and Hawkins is living in Texas. So probably don't see each other quite often. So he probably will be there. And his brother, hopefully, Hawkins' little brother will be there as well, 2025 cornerback. So staying on moving on to the defensive side, talking about a corner, Kobe Black, 6 foot, 190-pound safety out of Waco, Texas, 2024 5-star corner, the #2 corner in the class. He took a visit to Oklahoma recently. Seemed like it went extremely well as you could hope for. His older brother plays at Oklahoma State. He's not going to end up at Oklahoma State. But an interesting tidbit about him is his dad was coached by Brent Venables at Kansas State. There's connections there. His visit went really well. I'm still not going to, hold my breath here. But if there's another 5-star corner or 5-star defensive back in this class that Oklahoma could land, I think Kobe Black is that guy. If they're getting one 5-star DB in the class, seems like that Kobe would have the most connections with Oklahoma and most realistic shot. What do you think?
I agree. I think, and it speaks to what Brandon Hall and Coach Bly have been doing too. We talk about the defensive line a lot because we are big fans of defensive and offensive line on the show. But Brandon Hall and Coach Bly are doing a great job in recruiting in their own right. They land a 5-star in Peyton Bowen with the addition of the guys they brought in the 4-stars, Jacoby Johnson, Josiah Wagner. Who's the other guy that I can't remember right now? There was 3 DBs: Josiah Wagner, Jacoby Johnson, and who else?
Peyton
Peyton
Bowen.
Bowen. Is that it? I thought we had one more 4-star DB.
And
Doesn't matter.
then I'm totally blanking, but
Yeah, I'm liking to. It doesn't matter, but what I'm getting to is they're doing a great job in recruiting on their own right. So if you land a kid like Kobe Black, he's a kid that can play right away. I think not right away, but he can sneak into the rotation as a freshman and then be that guy down the road. I think Oklahoma is trying to build a quality. They're going to build a tremendous defensive line, and then if you get some guys in the back end that can hold the receivers up, that's going to be a dangerous defense. And Kobe Black is he's not quite as big as Jacoby Johnson, but he's similar to him because they both played offense and defense in high school, and that is something I wonder if that's something that the coaches look for because as a DB that plays receiver too, he's not going to be, the old adage of that's why he plays defense when they're dropping balls. He should be, in theory, he should be able to come down with a lot of interceptions. He should be able to make plays with the ball in his hand, having that offensive experience. I think that helps. That bodes well for Oklahoma. Hopefully you can close on that because that secondary class is coming in nicely too. And not only with the guys they got in the 23 class, but the transfers. I think Reggie Pearson is a big addition for this upcoming season. I think in Brandon Hall and Jay Vly we trust. Be a fun one to follow. Hopefully you can win out.
Yeah, I had to look it up just because I was blanking. I mean, they also landed McCarty Vickers, Kendall Dolby, Dave McCullough. So a lot of talented defensive backs
It'll
in
be a
this
loaded
class.
room.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. It's a problem that Oklahoma hasn't had in a long time.
It's where you want to be loaded at. Who's the last 5-star DB outside of Peyton Bowen that we landed? Was it Buki Riles? Which we all know how that one turned out for old Grinchy Poo.
Yeah, not great.
Hopefully these 5 stars are a little bit better, and I think they will be. Time will tell.
Yeah, definitely. So that's all I've got as far as, upcoming visits or past visits or experiences. But I mean, could you imagine Oklahoma going 3 for 3 here? Do you have any final thoughts or individual challenge?
3 for 3 would be nice, but if you can only pick two, I'll give you the defensive guys. And the video challenge. Yeah, is anybody going to the NCAA Wrestling Championship Saturday night for the finals? I'm trying to recruit Brum into going. I'll be there. I'm trying to get Brum. Comment that Brum should go, and then we'll have a good time.
All right. Made it this far. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, Spotify, and TikTok. Everything's linked in the description below. And we'll catch you guys next time.